All right, what's going on, everybody? This is Ness. Hopefully, everybody's doing well. We have some special announcements. New Dream Collection just came out, and it's actually the Super Variety version. So let's go ahead and watch the highlight, and then we're gonna do some player analysis, and maybe we'll determine whether we'll pour or not. Let's find out.
どんなボールでも受け止めてやる。修行の成果を見せてやる。ボールは一つ止める。完璧な守備を披露してやる。
All right, so these are the two newest players that just coming out. It's gonna be Ken and Salinas. We're gonna go into their stats and kind of break down everything to see if they're worth the pool. We're actually gonna go straight into it too because we don't have a lot of time. But let's go start off with Ken. Ken, looking at his stats. Okay, so let's talk about his passive here. It's give everything. So the stats increase the higher stamina. So that means he's pretty good in the beginning. But the more saves that he make, the less of his power is. Master catcher, which gives you that little extra inch of probability to catch. Whenever there's like a deflection or something like that, there's a probability something like that happening where the ball deflects off of his hand. With master catcher, that little extra percentage is actually going to go into the catch stats, which is actually could be pretty significant. Sometimes it could be like 3-5%, so it could be a little bit helpful. And then we obviously have the skill block cancel, which is fantastic. You can use your best skills always, not having to worry about getting blocked. And then here's also an HA here that would help him with his give everything, his pass, which is stamina cost down, required stamina 10% when using special skills, which means his ability to use his best catch is actually going to be lessened, which means he can use it more often, which means give everything will be a little bit more potent throughout. All right, so when we look into Ken right here, so let's take a look at his stats. So 696 is actually the best that he can do. And actually it is, a very, very high potent save. True. That is in fact true. But the question is, if you take a look back at Genzo and when he came out, his stats were ridiculously high compared to the meta. This particular Ken, unfortunately, is not the highest. When you talk about the meta and the current strikers, there's definitely strikers available that can score on Ken today, right now. So it makes me wonder whether, is there going to be another future goalie that's going to have that same level of potency, that's going to be stronger, that's going to be able to stop everything? Or is this Caleb's plan going forward, whether the current strikers they're happy with and, they kind of want that balance? Because when Genzo came out, a lot of players complained like it was impossible to score on him. Tournaments even banned Genzo because it was impossible to score on him. So maybe this is like their way. Maybe this is the balance that they're doing. Maybe we're not going to see a very, very strong goalkeeper, which means, this Ken is pretty solid. But unfortunately, we'll lose to matchups versus players like Napoleon. We'll lose to Tsubasa, which if he activates his sync. And there's also a Napoleon out there as well that he would definitely lose first attempt. But other than that, this Ken will withstand pretty much every other striker in the game. So just a heads up with that. The next person we are going to highlight, we have Salinas here. Salinas, let's go into his abilities here. There's a chance to become easier ball. Okay, so the ball goes. Okay, so he's a punch master. Punch master is really good because when punching, so most of the time, sometimes they will just go to your defender. Defender is in a really bad position, and then you're like trying to pass with the defender, and then all of a sudden it's interception. So like there's like another scoring opportunity. With punching master, the ball is going to go into the center, which means like the chance of that happening is significantly less. So keep that in mind. Full power gauge up by 10%. Okay, this is pretty interesting to me. I don't know if you guys are realizing what's happening. Recently, it looks like Caleb is doing a thing where they're having Latin American teams with this full power gauge up of some sort. If you think about the reworked Espadas, which has the 50% full power, we're talking about the new Battle Pass Roberto, who has the ability to also, gain power when he wins a matchup. And now we have this Salinas. It looks like they're stacking this a little bit more, so you can really activate the full power. So something to keep in mind of. 2 skill block cancels, which is pretty good to have. Here's what makes a difference between Salinas and Ken, in my opinion, is this opposition full might. So basically what this particular hidden ability does, anybody who has like this give everything passive, and I'm guessing also full body stand as well, you're gonna get an extra boost. So the most prevalent person that we could think of right now is obviously Napoleon, right? You think about Napoleon currently in the meta, probably the strongest striker in the game, you know, that's easily achievable aside from Tsubasa, right? Look at his stats, it's 831. This particular Salinas can actually stop Napoleon because of this. So keep that in mind. And then shock killer, non-flying plus, so basically anybody who shoots a ground shot versus him, he's gonna be 5% a little bit stronger. But if you ignore the full body stand, because right now, to my knowledge, Napoleon is the only one that's viable with this full body stand, right? 714, which is just a little bit above Ken here, right? But other than that, like, I don't know. This is one of those things, like, he, you know, this particular Salinas definitely still has weakness and holes. There's still a couple strikers out there. Like, you think about Basa, we're thinking about Napoleon again, who was a character that came out a few months ago. Napoleon's looking pretty decent here. And then also Nita, who just recently came out as well. Nita should be able to have the advantage against Salinas on these occasions. So just keep that in mind. And then, so right now, if I had to rate these two players, I feel like I would slightly have favoritism towards Salinas, mainly because of this, the 10% full power gauge. Stats are a little bit better. You could definitely stop Napoleon, which is the biggest threat in the game right now, the most viable threat at the game right now. So I like Salinas, but the question is, I don't know what the futures hold, and I don't know what kind of Brandons are going to come out next. So something to keep in mind, though, for sure. All right, so we're gonna go into the other players that we did get. Some older players that got revamped. Some of them were good, some of them were not so good. We're gonna like power through these two. So next time the next player we're gonna highlight is Zhao. He's a player who came out in Dream Collection a while ago. Honestly, looking at his stats, they're not great at all. Like this particular guy, I will say what I do like about this new player is that they all have the all players stats +7. So if you're missing bond, if you're running this, if you don't have full 77% bond, then he'll be good for that. But honestly, if you look at his stats, he's just not viable in all the other categories. He could be a little pesky with his auto interception enhance. But honestly, other than that, this Zhao, honestly, not worth it. Hopefully you guys did not get him. Next person we're gonna talk about is Grandiose. Grandiose also got a rework, and I would say he got a decent rework, not the best. He's gonna be able, you know, he's pretty much doing enabling. That's like his best thing. So you know, whether it's dribble, whether it's passing, 1-2ing as well. I do want to keep in mind that if you do have a rival in your team, 70% chance to activate special skill auto intercept for rival. It doesn't say that here, but yeah, so that's the thing there as well. But stats pretty low. Like this 608 is not the greatest right now. His interception's definitely better, but this is a rare intercept as well. It's not his native interception, so it's gonna be a little bit tricky. So it kind of depends. Defensively wise, he's not gonna do the best for you, but offensively wise, he is gonna do well for you. He could win you matchups for sure, but I feel like this player is gonna phase out relatively soon, in my opinion. Next person we're gonna go into is Tiger Brand. This particular Tiger Brand, he got a really pretty solid rework. Full body stand, 50%. This is the percentage is really high because it means like he'll probably get drained a little bit quicker, but his stats are very good. Look at his fast, 730. He's gonna be able to bully a lot of, you know, forwards with this number, and then his stats dribble wise is amazing. Defensively wise, very solid too. He's not gonna be a blocker, but you put this guy on the wing and he'll do great things for you. Also, here's what's really important is this little stat up, Couts +5. We're talking about red Couts, DC Couts. A really solid player. He's just gonna be that much stronger with this particular Tiger Brand in the field. I see a lot of people gonna be, if I had to guess, a lot of people are gonna play this particular Tiger Brand. And then look at this bond too. This is probably the most elite bond we've seen. He has a 7% bond and a 4.5% shield. Honestly, he is a must-start bond player. Not a lot of people are playing debuff anymore, but definitely a must-start as he has this extra 4.5% boost. Might as well keep him, put him in there. And then Hyuga +20. They're very situational. You don't really see that too often. So, and then direct hotline, of course. And then the last person we're going to highlight is Akai. His stats are fantastic. But here's the thing to note is that he plays the DM position, right? And his stats that are this high is only within the against attacking midfielders and defensive midfielders. So if you find yourself like against a really strong forward, there is a chance that Akai could be bully. His interceptions and stats are like really nice at 672. But if there comes a player that has really high like passing stats as a forward, there's a chance that Akai might be in trouble here. But everything else about his kit is also really solid though. I like this tackle force plus 10%. I wish it would have been everything plus 10%, but it's fine. And then the bond, of course, 7%. Another easy bond too. Japan players. Stamina Killer is also good as well. So yeah. So these are highlight players. With that said, I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually do a quick pull here. And I've been thinking about which banner to pull, right? Whether I should just wait for Salinas or whether I'll wait for Ken. I have made that decision. And this decision is that I am going to pull on the Salinas banner. I decided to go on the Salinas banner. I feel like Salinas is going to be... I like Salinas and I don't have Kauts. And having those two players are the most important. So with that said, I do want to do this particular banner. We highlighted these players before. Diaz and Brian are the two players that I want. Specifically, I kind of actually want Diaz the most. So we're gonna go like full 7 steps here and see where our luck takes us. Hopefully we did not get Bubong. Unfortunately, Bubong is very underwhelming. So all right, let's do it. Wish me luck. This is already bad. Already off to a bad start here. Okay. All right. Step 2. Probabilities chances of landing your player gets better as the steps continue. So it's not looking good here either. Yeah. Okay. All right. 50% chance. This is a pretty decent chance. Honestly, if I get either Brian or Diaz right here, right now, I'm pretty much done. Whoa, wow. Luck is not on my side today. 50% chance of the SSR and still nothing. Or, yeah, nothing. Okay, here we go. SSR guaranteed, but not new player guaranteed. Just SSR guaranteed, so. So let's just play out. Okay, we're hoping to see not a new player. Not gonna be a new player. I mean, 7% bond, but he's a little bit tricky to activate it. I believe you need 3 skill type Japanese players. I believe so. Not looking good. It's gonna come down to this step here. 30% chance of a new SSR player. So. Wow. This is really unfortunate. You know what? We're gonna go down. This is the very last step here. Unfortunately, it's guaranteed 1 SSR, but man, if we get Bubong, this particular set of pools have been really bad. So, all right, Diaz or Brian, let's go. Okay, it's 2. Maybe when you see the colors blue. I don't know. Okay, let's see. Okay, Brian. I'm just glad it's not Bubong. Brian is really good. I like his stats. He's a good player. He's a good defender and offensive playmaker. So very solid. I'm happy with this. Maybe we'll get lucky. Let's see. No, that's it. Okay. So Brian, not a bad addition. So cool. All right. I want to thank you guys for stopping by. We're gonna upload this on YouTube. We're probably gonna do another analysis or maybe do a full stream, maybe live whenever Salinas comes out. So stay tuned for that one. But also I do want to say that if you enjoyed this video, if you like the analysis, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe. All of that is free, so it definitely helps me out and it helps the algorithm out a lot as well. So I definitely appreciate that. All right, have a wonderful night. See you.